not knowing I was one of those women. So when I went to Parris Island, I actually started to, there were rumors going around. Some of the Marines were saying, well, why is this captain, or at the time I was a first lieutenant, why does the lieutenant not have any boyfriends? So the rumor mill started to build. And
did you have a girlfriend at the time?
I did. I actually lived an hour away from Parris Island. I was in another state. Parris Island is in South Carolina.
Talk about separating
Yes.
the parts of your life.
And I lived in Savannah, Georgia.
Uh-huh.
And I would make the commute, which was over an hour, so that I could to adhere to the don't ask, don't tell policy. But the toll was just, my blood pressure was going up. It was actually physically taking a toll on me. And I had the choice of either staying in and living in the situation where it's basically I am living a lie, where my Marines are telling me about what they're doing in the weekends and I can't. They thought I was the most boring lieutenant ever. They're like, she has no life, And so when I was given an opportunity in 2003, I actually decided to go to graduate school. And
so to leave
the active duty.
Active duty.
Yes,
right.
And so I was still in the reserve status, but it was a hard decision because I wanted to serve and continue. I mean, it was, when you find something that you're really born to do, something that you're passionate about. So for me, I was like, well, do I suffer through it and wait, do 20 years and hopefully not be found out? Because at any time, if you're found out, you can get discharged. Or do I live a life that's a little bit more healthier and and healthier for the people that I love? Because the other part of this don't ask, don't tell is you're asking your loved ones to go in the closet with you.
Right.
And so I actually decided to go to New York and go to grad school. So, my story doesn't really end there because, as the war continued on in Iraq and Afghanistan, I received orders in 2004 to activate to go back on active duty to go to Iraq. And I was in New York at the time, and a lot of my friends were like, well, just pull the gay card, you don't need to serve. And for me, that's unacceptable, because I'm a Marine. I'm going to serve because I have friends there, and it's just part of my duty when I swore the oath to protect and defend the Constitution. So I made the decision to go. And my partner at the time was not happy, because she had to go back in.
I think it's slightly understandable,
yes.
But still.
And I think a lot of people don't realize the toll it takes on your loved ones, because I had to create a network that didn't exist for her while I was away for support. Mm-hmm. Like, if I were to get injured or killed, I couldn't have her as my next of kin. Insurance-wise, I had to do verbal agreements with my siblings to make sure she was taken care of and things like that. And it was actually during my time in Iraq where when I came back, I made a decision to talk about what it was like to serve under Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Let's go back a minute, though, to what you just said,
mm-hmm.
because I think it's something that people don't think about very much. When people think about benefits or partner benefits, they generally tend to think of it almost kind of monetarily. So you get some health care for your partner and you get dental care or whatever. But you're really talking about something emotionally so much deeper. I think just the movie that came out this year, A Single Man, where the opening scene of it, it takes place in the 50s, and it's a gay man with a partner, longtime partner, who gets a call from the partner's nephew that the partner was killed. No one would tell him because no one knew. Yes. And thinking about this same issue, I think it's a very deep issue, because you had to invent a way for her to even know if something happened to you.
It was really tough because there's no official channels that she would get notified. And
right.
I actually made one of my brothers, I have 3 brothers, and they're all supportive of me. And one actually agreed to be the next of kin with he knew that if something were to happen, to immediately contact her. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of like creating a network that kind of was a very skeletal version of what would happen that actually the military does create for spouses and partners of, straight service members.
So where were you in Iraq?
I was actually in Fallujah and Ramadi back in 2005. So,
and wouldn't you have also an issue there? I don't know about all the technology, but from what I see on television, on the internet, people have a chance to talk to their loved ones and even see them, on sort of computer stuff.
Yes, and it's interesting. One of my friends, I worked with him in Ramadi, and he actually gave me a sat phone to call home.
Wow.
And he had actually warned me that, just know that they're monitoring the airwaves, because he knew about me, and he was trying to protect me. So what I did with Fran was we would write, and kind of in code to each other in emails, take care meant I love you, or things like that. And it's really kind of sad when you think about it that you have to change your language. But I think when I think back to maybe 20 years ago, I think it's something that a lot of people dealt with before. It's very similar.
So we'll come back because I want to know about your, when you came back from Iraq, something else happened, right?
Yes, I actually spoke out on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and it was during my work, working with Service Members Legal Defense Network and some other organizations. I actually told my story, which I thought was not very revolutionary, just explaining what it was like to live under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the reality of it on not only myself but my loved ones and my fellow Marine officers, and my Marines as well, because some of my Marines knew as well, and for them it didn't matter. And I received actually a phone call in 2007, so a few years ago, out of the blue, from a reserve colonel based out of Atlanta, Georgia, who basically called me and said, and I thought I was getting activated or something, because I was like, great, here we go again. But instead of the phone call was, I'm calling you because we're investigating you for violating the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. And then he proceeded to read me my Article 31 rights, which are the Miranda warning. And I'm a police officer, so I was so angry.
Right.
Because you read that to somebody you're interrogating who's a suspect in a crime.
A criminal, sure.
Exactly.
Or a suspected criminal.
And actually, one of my first phone calls was to SLBN. I was like, because I knew some of the people that I'd worked with in the past. But it was quite a struggle because, here, my worst nightmare, it was right there. And I was actually assigned a Marine a Marine major, female major, who was assigned my case in the military. And I remember we'd talk, constantly because we're fighting to make sure I got an honorable discharge. And she was saying how stupid this policy was and how much we lose when we actually spend the time. People don't realize how much time it takes to investigate somebody under the policy.
Right.
And then how much effort it takes to actually separate somebody who's clearly already served. They're part of a unit, they've served overseas, they've deployed, and yet they're spending all this time and energy kicking out people who are completely capable of doing the job.